Welcome back to another episode of the Next Level Minds podcast. My name is Chris Chapman, and I am your host. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, then this is a podcast dedicated to those who want to reach a next level in their business, personal, or career life. Every other week, I'm blessed to sit down with a fully qualified guest, entrepreneur, content creator, or mover and shaker in their industry and walk through their story of how they have gotten from point A to point B and overcame various adversities along the way. Now, before we dive into today's episode, which is part of a series I do called Motivation Monday, talking about different topics, strategies, and initiatives to really just get the week started, I just wanted to go ahead and reiterate my main goal, which is to impact over 1 million people by helping them reach a next level. So if you've not done this already, please take the time to subscribe to Next Level Minds on Apple Podcast and share this episode with a family member, friend, or colleague who you think will get some value out of it. And if you're really feeling special, make a review of Next Level Minds on Apple Podcast. Let me know what you think. Now on to today's episode, which as I mentioned is part of a series I do called Motivation Monday, which these episodes are released the third Monday of every month. And today I really want to talk about taking risk. And the reason I want to talk about this is I've personally taken some risk, but I'm going through a decision right now that's going to cause me to potentially make a big jump, a big risk, but will have a pretty significant reward at the end of the day if everything works out according to how I hope it will. So I've been dealing with some of these decisions myself recently, so I thought this would be a very appropriate topic for this week's episode. So before I really go into the importance of taking risk, I thought it'd be nice to really break down the reason why people don't take risk. And in my opinion, I think one of the really main reasons here why people don't take risk is because of fear. Now, if you look at fear, fear has two different meanings. First, you can either face everything and rise, or you can forget everything and run. That's from many different things, but I recently read that in one of my favorite books, 7 Steps to an Unbreakable Mindset. And the author, Mike Diamond, who actually will be on my podcast soon, mentions that. He says, fear has two meanings, and I'll go over it again. Face everything and rise, or forget everything and run. So when you understand that fear is what holds you back from taking a risk, you have a decision to make with the fear. You can go with the latter, or you can go with what I was saying of face everything and rise. And I also think if you really want to get technical with it, that fear really has a deeper underlying root cause to it. And I think you really need to ask yourself, with this situation, with this circumstance, with this certain thing happening, what am I actually really scared of? And a lot of times you'll find that it has an underlying kind of deeper meaning and root cause to it that I believe you can definitely address with the proper thinking, obviously proper techniques, but I think it's important to really think kind of, hey, what's the root cause of this fear? I'm scared of being broke, or I'm scared of, of course, running out of money, being broke, or I'm scared of this company failing, or I'm scared of, losing this job. Like, what is the reason why you are scared of that is, I think, something that's super important to really ask yourself. And then you can actually start addressing that fear, because it's attached to a deeper level, a deeper meaning. So, and I think with fear, when you're facing fear, which everyone has to face a fear, there's people out there that say, oh, I'm fearless, but everyone is scared and afraid of something. So you need to have the right mindset when you face these fears. And I think the first thing you definitely need to do is really to have faith and trust in yourself that you can get through the fears, the circumstances, the tough situations that you're experiencing. And I think it's really just understanding that, hey, you can live this life of abundance. You can get through anything. You're unstoppable. You have the positive mindset, the work ethic, the motivation, etc. to get through it. Yes, things are going to hit you left and right. Yes, there's going to be fears that come up all the time. But telling yourself that, implementing that positivity into your life saying that you are a person that can conquer this, that can get through this, then you will be unstoppable, is the proper mindset and proper thing that you need to tell yourself. It's a big confidence game out there if you want to deal with some of these fears. And I think the second thing you can do when you're facing your fears is having that trusted advisor, friend, or mentor that you can talk with about some of the things that you're scared of. So if you're starting a company and you're scared of it going under, or you're making a big career jump and you're scared that things may not go the way that you want them to go, it's important to have that individual, that friend, that mentor, etc., that you can talk to about these certain situations that you're experiencing, because it's nice to have someone that can actually relate to you. Or it's even better if you can find a mentor who has gone through the circumstances that you are going through right now, or has achieved that level of success that you are aiming for. It's better if you can find someone that has done those things and actually learn from them, learn from their mistakes, see what you can do better, and figure out your own course of path based on what they experienced throughout their journey. So again, find that friend or mentor or just trusted advisor. And the last thing I want to talk about with fear before going into the importance of taking risk is that there's a really popular quote out there. You've probably seen it floating on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you guys follow any motivational type success-driven channels, and it says, don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. Don't let that fear hold you back from experiencing that level of excitement, that level of happiness, that level of fulfillment from accomplishing that big goal, that big dream, that big aspiration. Don't let the fear hold you back. Now, this goes into my next point, which is the importance of taking risk. So going back to that quote I just mentioned, don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. One of the big reasons is that you don't want to live a life with regret. You've heard a lot of people say this, and I've personally read a lot about this, watched a lot of videos, etc., that regret is poison. I've talked to a lot of people because of the nature of work that I do with my full-time job, my podcast, my startup. Like, I talk to a lot of people across all different age ranges, and the worst thing to hear and see is somebody who's 60, 70, 80 years old who is filled with regrets because they let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. So that should drive you. When you talk to somebody who can't do it anymore because they're 70, 80, 90 years old and their life is on the tail end and they have all these regrets of things that they did not do, that's a big driver to keep you going. And I also think you hear people say, you know, I wish I could do this, or I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done this. Like, go out and do it. Don't wish, go out and do it, and take that jump, take that risk, go all in on these initiatives that you have set for yourself. And going back to that prior point about, you know, meeting people that are 70, 80, 90 years old, is later in life, I firmly believe that you will regret the things you did not do versus the things that you did do. And don't get me wrong, like, don't just go make stupid decisions. If you say yes to everything, ultimately some of those may not be the smartest. But I've said yes to some things that are really dumb. But now I look back and I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of glad I said yes to doing this, because yes, this situation happened, or yes, the outcome was X when I wanted it to be Y. But man, did I learn some really cool things? Did I experience some really cool things that I can talk about? And you know what? I don't have to deal with that, oh, hey, what if? Because I took action and I said yes and did it anyway, even though it didn't come out how I wanted it to. I don't have to deal with that regret because I already experienced the situation. Another thing I want to chat about too with the importance of taking risk is that, yes, failure will happen. Like, that will happen no matter what. It's part of life. It's part of the journey of success. It's part of life, especially when you have these big goals, dreams, and aspirations, because the people that have these big goals, these big dreams, these massive lives that they want to live, they're taking risks, they're taking action, they're taking very messy action. And with messy action, with saying yes, with going all in all the time, you're going to increase your chances of failure. But let me stop right there and say that failure is not the end game. failure is just a refocus of your alignment and direction. So there's been paths that I've been on that I'm like, oh, I think this will work. I think this will work. Something fails and I just have to refocus and realign. But then it's going back at these failures that you've experienced, realigning yourself, looking at the learning lessons that you've experienced and implementing those learning lessons into your next path that you take. So I think if you can have that mindset towards failure, that, hey, it's not the end point. Failure is just a refocus of my alignment, a refocus of my path, a refocus of where I'm trying to go. Then if you can have that mindset, instill that into yourself, then you will be definitely way more risk averse because you're not scared to fail, because you know it's just a stepping stone to that next path. So that's a big mindset that I think you should definitely have. It's one that I've been trying to embrace recently as well. It's just embracing that failure. It's embracing that messy action. It's embracing the mentality of, you know what, I'm going to go do this and see what happens, because I'm not scared and I trust myself and I have faith that big things will happen. It may be messy. It may be slip-ups. It may be things that set me back 1 or 2 steps every now and then, but I have faith and full confidence that I can do it. That's the mindset that you need to have when you take these risks. And I think another main important topic here with taking risk is that, all truly successful people I've met, and I've been fortunate just with the nature of my work, again, doing the things I do with my full-time job, podcast, startup, that I've been the fortunate opportunity to meet a lot of millionaires and a few billionaires, and also with these people that have experienced extremely great financial lives. Some of these people have also experienced great fulfillment in their personal life as well, which sometimes I think those two are really hard to balance. So I've met some very successful people, not only financially, but those same financially successful people are also successful within their families, their personal lives, their physical lives, their everything. And some big learning lessons that I've gotten from these individuals is that they're all risk takers. They're all people who just go all in on those dreams. I mean, you hear about all these stories. If you peel back the onion a little bit on a lot of these successful people, they took multiple risks years ago. And those risks that they took, yeah, I'm sure there's some that have failed, but a lot of these risks that they've taken have compounded on each other and really created the life that they have now. So there's great things on the other side of risk. Risk is filled with fear. It's filled with failure. It's filled with setbacks. But on the other side of that risk, on the other side of taking that leap, on the other side of going all in, is a great reward. An even greater reward is not having the regret that you didn't do it. It's living that life knowing, you know what, I did it and this happened. It's having a life of fulfillment because you know that every day you are striving to reach that full potential. So life is filled with opportunity and abundance. It's filled with a lot of risk. It's filled with so much opportunity, as I mentioned out there. And it's really up to each and every one of you to sit down, look at all the risk that you have to take, but then also look at the other side of that risk and jump towards those massive dreams, those massive visions, those massive goals. Jump towards those things with full confidence and abundance and full faith that you can do it. Take that risk.